The YouTube algorithm, the bane of our existence as creators. Never has a bigger pile of ones and zeros caused so much turmoil, havoc, joy, despair. Today we're going to be talking about the YouTube algorithm and how we can understand it, master it, and use it to change lives. My name is Dave, and if we've not met before, I am a church media creator just like you. And this is the show where we teach you how to leverage technology, amplify the gospel, and change lives. Today, I want to talk about the YouTube algorithm. This big blob of ones and zeros and AI technology and stuff that we're all trying to understand and make work. I've heard so many different creators, so many people say the YouTube algorithm hates me. It doesn't like my content. The YouTube won't show my content to people. YouTube won't show my content to subscribers. YouTube won't show my content. You know, why does this church or why does this ministry get shown everywhere, but they don't show my stuff? All that sort of stuff. Well, it's an algorithm that is doing that. And if you want to master it, just master human nature. If you understand human nature, then you'll understand the YouTube algorithm. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. That's kind of the way it's built, which is actually pretty smart if you think about it. So let's talk about the YouTube algorithm and what it is. There was a talk recently, a private invite-only talk to a bunch of the higher-end creators, you know, Mr. Beast and those kind of people that are up there with the millions and millions of subscribers kind of people. They got invited to a little talk where the head of the YouTube algorithm team was talking about how the algorithm works and kind of breaking it down and sharing a little bit of inside stuff that he got permission to share with some of these higher end creators to help them just further refine. And so someone was in there, they took some screenshots, they did a little video about it, and so I've been watching that and I thought, you know what, I'm going to share that with you guys because a lot of this applies to us, creators in general, but to church media creators as well, because we tend to have a harder time making the algorithm, making YouTube work for us. Now, there's several different factors when it comes to that. Part of it is we don't promote. That's like, seriously, that's like one of the things that a lot of people don't do is they don't promote. And as people that work in ministry, it kind of makes sense that we're not going to promote because we don't want to be braggadocious. We don't want to be prideful. We don't want to, toot our own horn or do anything like that. But if we don't, who will? Right? That's kind of a promotion one-on-one. I mean, you promote Vacation Bible School. You promote different ministry events and things like that you do. But you don't necessarily promote you, pastor. You don't promote, or worship pastor, you don't promote the pastor. A lot of stuff out there is personality driven, so we do need to promote. We need to promote our pastor because he is the shepherd of our flock. So we need to promote him, not in an effort to tickle his fancy or... Do people even say that anymore? I might want to bring that. I'm going to bring tickle my fancy, and I'm going to bring balderdash. I'm going to use that. I'm going to bring that back. So we don't want to promote the pastor so that he gets a big head or anything like that. We all have to deal with pride, right? But if we want more people to be engaging with our content, to know that we're doing a series on Galatians, like we just finished one at our church, then we need to be promoting that. Then the pastor needs to be promoting that. The church needs to be promoting that. We need to be going and doing purposeful things to drive people to our channel because we're not doing a good job of building our channel and tailoring our content on our channel so that the YouTube algorithm grabs onto it and starts showing it, right? Let's talk for a sec about how that actually works. Now, I said earlier that if you understand human nature, then you'll understand the algorithm. And that's largely true because the YouTube algorithm is basically made up of people. That's it. Now, it's a bunch of math and it's a bunch of formulas and these little neural nets and all kinds of AI stuff. I heard somebody say one time that the YouTube or say the Google search engine, this was a few years ago, had the quote-unquote intelligence of about an 8-year-old kid. And this was in reference to like when we upload our content. As our content is being uploaded, it is actually reading our content. It is, transcribing it, right? And then it is trying to derive meaning out of what it is that we're doing so that it understands what this video is and who this video would serve so that it can serve it later, right? So there is some AI, there's some machine learning, there's all this kind of stuff going on over there. But when it all boils down to is that it is about people, okay? So the algorithm is made up of people. So when you say something like, why doesn't the algorithm like my content? The YouTube algorithm doesn't show my content. The algorithm is hiding my content, blah, blah, blah. Substitute the word algorithm for viewer, right? So the viewer is not seeing my content. The viewer is not watching my content. The viewer doesn't like my content. That's really what's happening there, because everything at YouTube is centered around the viewer. The viewer is the core, because without viewers, YouTube won't have views. Without views, YouTube can't sell ads. Without ads, they have no revenue. Without revenue, it's a dead platform and it goes away. So it is a business. They want eyeballs. So the best thing to do is to serve content to the eyeballs to keep them on the platform. That's the basic goal of the entire algorithm, okay? The other day I was going through some of our stats on our YouTube channel, and one of the things that I noticed was that about 70% of the people that are watching this have not actually subscribed to the channel. So it's really cool that people are finding our content and finding our show and all that without being subscribed. But what's even cooler is when you guys do subscribe. So if you would, please do us the honor of hitting the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell. And if you really like this, then turn on all notifications so you can be notified anytime we do something on here, and we can stay in contact with you and you can stay up to date on what's going on. We'd really appreciate it. A lot of people think of the algorithm in a sort of backwards way. The YouTube algorithm is not pushing my content or surfacing my videos to certain people. They don't show it to a certain audience, or they don't show it to people. It's the other way around. YouTube follows the person. YouTube follows the audience, okay? So basically, YouTube wants the viewer to have a long-term relationship with YouTube, okay? So they want them there for years. They want them coming to the platform for years or decades, okay? Basically, any of the streaming services do that. Think about Netflix. I realized at some point that Netflix wasn't showing the content that I was really interested in. I mean, I like to watch Stranger Things, and there were a couple of other, Umbrella Academy, you know, there were a couple of different shows that were unique to Netflix that I thought, these are great, I'm going to watch them. And I watched them, and then, you know, they don't come back for a couple of years or something. And I realized that when I sat down to watch TV, I was going to Paramount Plus, or I was going to Amazon Prime, or going to Apple Plus, and I wasn't ever clicking on the Netflix thing anymore. And I realized they're not serving me as a viewer, so I unsubscribed. Okay, YouTube wants to serve you as a viewer. They want to serve your congregation as viewers. People that are engaging in that content, they want to serve so that they will come back to watch more content there. Everything is for the viewer. One of the big metrics that they have is viewer satisfaction. So watch time, how long you're watching a video, helps to feed an overall satisfaction for watching a video, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to be satisfied with your session. When you sit down to watch YouTube on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, what have you, they want you to be satisfied so that you come back and watch again tomorrow or later that day or whatever. So that's what they feed. With YouTube, one of the big determining factors that goes into that satisfaction is watch time, okay? And they monitor about 80 billion viewer signals every day. So there's a whole bunch of different things that go into what a viewer signal is. The viewer signals are basically how YouTube is monitoring you. And when I say monitoring you, I mean that from a good standpoint, okay? They're not nefariously monitoring you. What they're doing is they're monitoring your behavior, what you're doing on the platform, so they can give you more of what you want to see, which is an ideal situation. I don't really care about cat videos, right? And we always go to cat videos, don't we? I don't really care about watching cat videos. My daughter cares about watching cat videos, and she wants to watch cat videos. So when you go to her homepage on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of cat videos and dog videos and, you know, other things that a little girl likes to watch, okay? For me, it's not that. So if YouTube were not monitoring my behavior on the platform, they would be sending me cat videos, and my satisfaction with the platform would not be there. Those of us that remember YouTube in the early days, it was like that. Once the discovery engine started really forming and conforming to our likes and our dislikes, then the experience got a whole lot better. So some things that some of the signals that YouTube has, or that YouTube monitors, like I said, about 80 billion or so of these signals surface during a day on the platform. So they are monitoring all these things from the time that you or I start a session with YouTube. They are monitoring these things. And it's a lot more than these, but here's a few of them. They're monitoring what they watch, what a viewer watches, what they don't watch. So things that are presented to a viewer that they then move past. Okay, so think about when you're scrolling and you stop and watch something, they're saying, okay, Dave likes this, Dave scrolled past this, Dave scrolled past this, Dave scrolled past this, Dave stopped and watched this, mark it down. He scrolled past this, mark it down. He's not interested in cat videos, et cetera, right? So what they watch, what they don't watch, how long a viewer watches. It's another thing that they do. Do they watch for 3 seconds and then go, oops, nope, I'm not interested in that? Do they watch 5 times in a row? You know, I do that with shorts sometimes. There's a short that I'll watch, and by the time I'm really into it, it's over, and I was like, I got to see that again. And I'll watch that short 2 or 3 times. And then what I noticed is that a short from that creator may show up 10 down. So boom, there they are again, because I spent 3 minutes watching a 1 minute short versus 10 seconds watching a 1 minute short, right? So they're monitoring where a viewer is watching. So like if they're watching it on their phone, are they watching it on their television? Are they watching it on their laptop? Are they watching it on a tablet? They're monitoring that. They're monitoring when they watch. Are they watching during lunchtime? Are they watching first thing in the morning? Are they watching during morning drive? Are they watching at night? Are they watching in the summertime? Are they watching in June? Are they watching on Tuesdays? When they're watching. They want to monitor all that. The likes and dislikes. If you like a video, you know, give us a thumbs up, like it. So if you like a video, great. That's one of the signals that says, hey, they're interested in this creator, this content, this topic. So maybe one of those 3 things they know now, that because you liked a video, where in the video did you like? So when they were talking about this one subject and then you hit the like button, they may say, they're interested in that subject. So they may not be interested in this creator, but they're interested in that subject. So we're going to show them more things about that subject and see if we're right. They monitor your shares. So if you're sharing, you know, if they took the time to share this with somebody else, then they're going to see more of that. I did that this morning. I was scrolling through some news and I found a YouTube video that was the final trailer for the new Disney Plus Ahsoka Star Wars series. The final trailer, it comes out in a couple of months. I watched it again, and then I shared it. I shared it with my pastor and Curtis and a few other people. So what that told YouTube is Ahsoka trailers he likes. Chances are I'm going to be getting fed that trailer, or a teaser trailer for that, or a behind the scenes, or a first look video or something like that on that subject. Why? Because I shared it. I took the time to share it. That was a signal that said, give him more of this stuff. Not interested. You know, you can, when it shows you something, you can choose not interested. If you give that feedback, then it will know they're not interested in Ahsoka or Revelation or Galatians or what have you. They're not interested in that. So don't show that to them. And like the pre and post roll surveys, you've seen those surveys, right? Where you go to start watching and there may be a commercial for something, you know, forward, you know, and then, you know, in 10 seconds later, there's a survey and you can hit skip survey. Take a look at those surveys. What they're doing is they're trying to further narrow down your interests in whatever it is that they're talking about so they can show more or less of that to you. That will customize your viewing experience. That will customize your advertising experience. You know, I am not married. I'm a dude. So thankfully, I don't see feminine hygiene commercials. Don't apply to me. Okay, but I do see like these, the classic, what are these classic tees, whatever, these tees that are made for bigger guys, you know, so I can lift my arms up and my belly doesn't show, you know. I see things like this because I let an ad for these play, or I clicked on these or whatever. So my experience is catered to me as a viewer, because that experience, that viewing experience, that advertising experience is catered to me. I'm likely to come back to the channel because I'm seeing things that I'm interested in that speak to me, right? Viewer satisfaction. One of the most important things that a creator can do is encourage their viewers to watch more of their content. This is something that in that talk he really hammered on. A call to action that you put in your video, whether like in a few moments, I'm going to do a call to action for Restream.com or not Restream.com, GetRestream.com, Restream, the service that we use for doing our multiple platform streaming. So I'll do a call to action for that. But I'm also right now telling you that if you're enjoying this content, then take a look at some of our other videos. Go take a look at some of our playlists over at churchmediacreators.com. That goes straight to our YouTube channel. So, like this, share this. If you're getting value from it, then be sure to watch something else. When this video is over, there's going to be a recommended video right here. Click on that recommended video. If you liked this, you'll probably like that one. Asking people to watch more and encouraging them to watch more is one of the biggest things, because if they do watch more, then you're going to increase the chances that your stuff is going to be seen by those people more often, because you're saying, because they like you. Hopefully you guys like me. I hope so. If you don't like me, you like Curtis. How can you not like Curtis? He's tall, he's bald, he's funny, he's kind, he's my best friend. So you better like him, because if you don't like him, you don't like me, and I'm going to have to go key your car. No, but if you like the person, then go watch more of their content. Now, let's talk about the call to actions to get someone to watch more of your stuff. How do you do that in a sermon? Well, change your thinking a little bit. We need to realize that the pastors, preachers, public speakers, those of you that are addressing a congregation, whether you're a teaching pastor or whether you're the lead pastor, whether you're the worship pastor, you are engaging the audience that's in the room, and you've been doing it for years, sometimes decades, right? You've been engaging the people that are sitting in the pews. You need to make a switch, flip a little switch in your head that says, I have two audiences now, or I have one audience, and one of them I look at through a window. The other ones I look at that are in here, sitting in front of me. Okay, so start talking to the people that are in the pews and start talking to the people that are on the camera. Okay, now, how do you remember to do this? Well, if you're using a confidence monitor, right, or a stage monitor, like at our church, when you're standing on stage, there's like this 80-inch screen that's on the balcony, and that's where the lyrics are run for the song, so that the people on stage, have that reference point, right? It's a little different than the ones that are on the big screens. You can put a note in there. If you're putting your sermon notes, if you're putting your bullet points on the screen for the confidence monitor, you can put a reminder in there to tell people that this is part 3 of our study in Galatians. And if you've missed part 1 or 2, you can go into the description and click on the link to the playlist where this video is and where the other ones are, and you can get caught up. What's the analog to that in the room? Right? When you're talking to someone, you're saying, and next week we're going to be talking about, chapter 4 where this happens. And you're reminding, be sure that you come back next week, because I'm going to be doing part 2. This is something in the sermon that I'll cover next week, or that I covered last week, or something like that. You're doing that already when you're talking to the people in the room. Talk to the camera as well. Build that relationship with not just the people that are in the pews, but the people that are watching in the camera. Put a big old red light on your camera back there so you know where it is. Put a fluorescent sticky note or something that reminds you to look there. But develop that habit so that you can talk to the camera as you're talking to the people in the pews in front of you, okay? When you're doing that, encourage them to come back next week, to subscribe to the channel, to go and watch the entire series, the playlist in the entire series. The link is in the description. You can say things like that. And if you just build that into your communication from the stage, then it's going to become second nature. But doing that is going to be engaging with that person online directly who is watching, which is going to increase their viewer satisfaction because he's talking to me. Just like right now, I'm looking at you. So who's watching right now? Let me see. Let's see, we've got Justin, we've got Jordan. Okay, so Justin and Jordan. I'm talking to you, Justin, and I'm talking to you, Jordan. They're the ones leaving comments right now. So I'm talking to you guys. So I'm engaging with you. Why did you come back? Because the content is really good? Maybe, hopefully. Because I talked to you? Because we're becoming friends? Because I'm engaging with you? Because this is a personal experience for you? All of that, right? their viewer satisfaction is increasing because I am not talking over here to somebody they can't see. I'm not talking to the audience. I'm looking directly at them. So as a public speaker, when I get up on stage, I know pastors, you learned this in your public speaking class and your how to preach class about how to engage an audience. I remember in high school when we would read reports, remember you do your 5-page book report or whatever, and your teacher taught you to, as you're reading it, don't just bury your head down into the thing and read it the entire time, just reading it and not looking. They want you to read a few words and then look up and then read again and then look over here and then look, and to keep looking up to talk to the people who you're reading it to, as well as reading it on the paper. So in this public speaking classes, you learn pick 2, 3, 4 people in the audience that you're going to make eye contact with, you're going to keep that eye contact with. So in our church, we've got like 4 or 5 sections. So I'm going to look over here and I'm going to make contact with one person over here. I pick someone over here, I pick someone over here, I pick someone over here. And now I'm not talking to this mass of people. I'm actually focused on one individual person. Add the camera. When you add the camera, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, boom, talk to the camera. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you work around the room. So start talking to the camera, literally tell them, hey, Part 2 or Part 1 and 2 are in our playlist, so be sure that you check those out on our YouTube channel. You can also, put that information on the screen, like in the lower third, like you would a scripture verse or anything like that. If you want to know more about Jesus, click here. Any of that sort of stuff, engage with them. So when it comes to YouTube's recommendation engine, it breaks down into basically three different sections: personalization, performance, and external factors. Okay, those 3 subjects, topics, whatever, factors go into feeding the recommendation engine. Now, personalization, YouTube finds videos for viewers. It does not find viewers for videos. Okay, so it is viewer-centric, which means that instead of putting up a video and going, who would like to see this? Who should I show this to? Let's see. I want to show it to this person over here, and I want to show it to this person over here, and let's see. There's some people over here. I'm going to show it to them. It doesn't do that. What it does is it literally starts at the time that you log on to YouTube. So when you get to the YouTube home screen, the very first thing it does is it looks at what you did last time. Last time you were on this device on YouTube, what were you watching? What had you liked? What had you shared? How long had you watched this video? How long had you watched this video? Did you skip around in this video? All that sort of stuff. And it says, okay, here's what they did last time. Let's show them some things that are similar to what they did. There are times when I will go to YouTube and I will watch a video and then I will pause it and walk away and go do something else. Several days later, if I come back to that device and go back to the home page, what I was watching may still be there. Especially if I haven't engaged with YouTube a whole lot in that intervening time, then it may be recommended to pick up where I left off. If I've watched a lot of YouTube, then that may not show up anymore, because I never came back and watched it. But something similar might, because I've watched something like that 3 or 4 times. What YouTube is doing is saying, Dave, the viewer, what are his habits? What is he doing? Let's show him things that we think, based on what we know about him, he'll like. And we'll show that to him. And sure enough, I like him. So that personalization goes not only from person to person to person. My daughter, living in the same house, same location, right? Same address, will have different recommendations than I do, because we're 2 unique people, but we're in the same location. Her watching on the TV in the living room is going to get different recommendations than me watching on TV in the living room. Okay? Now, the device and the time of day have a lot to do with it as well. If you are a person that when you're standing in line or waiting for a train and you're on YouTube and you're watching shorts, then you're watching a minute or less clips and you're kind of scrolling through those, and that's your behavior, right? Especially, let's say that you live in the city and you got to wait for a train. So you get down to the train platform and you got to wait 2 or 3 minutes and you're watching some videos. Well, generally between 6:45 a.m. and 7:15 a.m., Bob is in this area of the city and is looking at these videos, right? Scrolling through these videos. So I will show him more of those kinds of things between 6:45 and 7:15 a.m. I'll show him more shorts than I would long-form content. I'm going to show him more short 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos instead of hour-long sermons or episodes of Joe Rogan's show or something like that, because his viewing habit is at this time, at this moment, every day or every 3 days or what have you at this location, because Google, who knows your location, you know that your location services are turned on your phone, so Google knows where you are in this part of the city at this time of day. His habits are like this, whereas in this part of the city at this time of day, his habits are like this. And so I'm going to show more things that are tailored to that. Now, it's also different between, like, say, your mobile phone and your desktop computer, or your mobile phone and your television. People watch content that is 4 times longer than the regular content that they watch on their phone when they're on their television. Why? Because when they're mobile, they're usually on the move in shorter bursts, right? When you've got the big screen in your living room and you sit down to watch that, you're going to be watching longer form content, which means that shorts are maybe not going to be recommended and surfaced as much. Unless you start watching shorts on the television, then that's going to figure into your viewing habits. In order to keep you satisfied, they're going to show you shorts on your television. I have found that even between the devices, okay, because I'm a content creator, I'm an app developer, and I've got a Roku channel, I've got a Amazon Fire and Apple TV channel, right, for Zondra TV. I've got all 3 of those devices here in the house. So right here next to me, I've got an Apple TV, okay? Right over here, Roku TV, okay? When I went to the home screen on both of these, there are some similarities and there are some differences, interestingly enough. Okay, you see the prepare for attack, on guard. You see that little thing, on guard, right there. Okay, so that is being recommended on here as well. The reason that's being recommended is because it's Jack Hibbs, and I've been watching a lot of Jack Hibbs sermons on both in the living room, which is a Roku TV, and here while I'm working. Okay, so that shows up both. However, on here, I have some things that are creator related, okay? So different creators that I follow, people like me who do this sort of stuff, do video production, create content like I'm creating for you right now. People that I follow, while I'm here working, I see these things because this is what I partake of here on this device on the big screen. If I'm sitting over here working on Legos or something, I may be watching something totally different, so I'm seeing different things. So if I look right here, I see some Jack Hibbs recommendations. I do see a creator. I see some stuff from Ruslan, several different things from Ruslan, and I may see something from my church because I watched a sermon over there, right? So big screen, different device, Apple versus Roku. So the viewing habits, they want to tailor everything to what it is that the viewer is doing. As soon as you upload a video, the algorithm starts identifying, because it knows what the video is about, because it's scanned it, it's read the transcript, it's tried to derive some meaning from it, it's taking semantic cues from the transcript and the things that you're talking about, the topics and stuff like that, and it says, okay, this video is about X, Y, and Z. So it will then say that, here's another video out there that's like X, Y, and Z, and here's another video like that that's about X, Y, and Z, and here's another one. So it identifies other videos that are similar to what you have uploaded, and it will, if someone watches that video, it will say, they also may like to see this same topic from this other person. So Jack Hibbs, I've watched some of his stuff on Revelation. Okay, so they upload a video about Revelation, And so I watched that. And then they say, you know what? Dave watched Jack Hibbs talk on Revelation, chapter 19. So Greg Laurie does something on Revelation chapter 18 and 19. He'll probably like to see that as well. And so that may be recommended because it's initially identified as something that is similar to this video. So if I turn around and watch the Greg Laurie video right then that's going to further cement a couple of different things. I'm interested in Revelation chapters 18 and 19. Okay, I'm interested in that topic. I'm interested in Revelation. I'm interested in end times. Interested in the apocalypse, maybe. Interested in content from Jack Hibbs. Interested in content from Greg Laurie. Maybe I get recommended a Greg Laurie video after that and I watch another one. Now it knows that when someone does something on Revelation, like my pastor, then it may say, okay, well, he watched Tate Springs Baptist Church on Revelation, so let's grab one of Jack Hibbs's and show it to him. Or if I've been watching pastors here in the local area, Tate Springs Baptist Church, I've watched First Baptist Mansfield, I've watched First Baptist Dallas, then they may say, he's watching stuff in his local area. So here's a pastor, First Baptist Dallas, that did something on Revelation. He just watched the pastor at Tate Springs Baptist Church on Revelation, so let's show him the one from First Baptist. He's watched that. He's paused it. He's liked it. He's shared it. Okay, that goes into the list. I hope that kind of gives you an idea about how the personalization works. The next thing is performance. The performance is whether you're liking it, whether you hit the not interested button, whether you've liked or disliked, whether you have gone back and watched something over again, whether you have paused and rewound in a video, those sort of things. How's that video performing? That is going to feed basically YouTube about your satisfaction about the video. The other factor is external factors, and these are things we definitely can't really have any control over. External factors. So I watch a lot of Ruslan KD. Really good. I may like certain topics that he's talking about, and then I may not like. I may bypass certain topics. Videos where he interviews this one person, I may watch all of those because it's an interesting topic. But then he interviews this other person who's a rapper, and I'm really not into rap. So I skip past that, and so it says, that topic Dave's not interested in. So Ruslan has many different topics. Here's the 4 that Dave is really interested in, so we're going to show those. He's not interested in the others. We're not going to pull those videos over to Dave because he's not showing any interest in wanting to watch those. So topical. Seasonality. Okay, seasonality is actually a really big deal. When it comes time for Christmas and we're doing a Christmas series, people are going to want to watch the Christmas stuff that you're doing. An Advent series, then during the Advent season, you may watch those views go up. And then in January, your views on your channel may go down. Why? Because they've been watching Advent stuff, and now they're really not interested in the Galatians series that you're doing. During COVID 2020, during the COVID stuff, people were at home a whole lot more. People were working from home more. People were just sitting at home, not doing anything. So YouTube viewership went through the roof. We had some videos go close to 500,000 views. I mean, it was awesome. But then they all fell off. Why? Because people went back to work. During the school year, you may be getting an average of X amount of views. During the summer, all of a sudden those views go up. And then August, all the views dropped. Why? Because people are going back to school. So seasonality. Views may be stronger during the lunch hours from like 10 a.m. to 2. And then they may be stronger at 9 p.m. They may be stronger on Monday than they are on Tuesday because people are engaging with your content because you had a sermon on Sunday. And so people are coming to work on Monday, or when they woke up on Monday, they played it. So maybe the viewership on Monday for your Sunday sermon is stronger, but Tuesday it's not. So how can we apply this kind of understanding of the algorithm and how it is very viewer satisfaction focused? How can we apply that to what we're currently doing? We need to know and understand and realize the sobering truth that no one cares about our church. I care about Tate Springs Baptist Church because I go there. My pastor cares because he's the pastor. Curtis cares because he's the family pastor. You don't. Okay, Jordan, my friend from Alberta, okay, who I've known for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, however long I've known Jordan, he didn't give two wits about Tate Springs. He may go and watch every so often, what are they doing? You know, what is it? Have they changed their stage or whatever? Okay, great. But he generally doesn't care about, he cares about his church. He may care about Greg Laurie because he follows Greg Laurie, right? But he doesn't care about my church. Most people don't. The people in your pews do. That's why your YouTube views on Sunday morning, maybe 18, 19, 20, 25 people, whatever, during the live stream, and then over the course of the week may get to 50 or 60 views because people are coming back to watch it again, or I wasn't there Sunday and so I watched it on Tuesday. But they're all right about there because those are the people that care about your church, the people that go there, okay? How do you help people that don't go to your church watch your stuff? You got to start thinking like a content creator and not a pastor or a sermon writer. Now, if you are the only person doing this, okay, or you and the secretary or administrative assistant, whatever we're supposed to call them, if you're the ones doing this, you got to shift some of your thinking, add to your thinking, revisualize the way you approach things. If you have a creative team, if you have a marketing team, they're the ones that can help with this sort of stuff so that you don't have to. It all depends on the size of your church. But take a look at your sermons, your sermon titles. I'm going to go take a look real quick at my church's page. So some of our sermon titles here over this Galatians series: Carry Me, Of Love and Leaven, Don't Call Me Ishmael, what? To Be Known. These are the names of the sermons. Now, what does that tell YouTube? What title? Don't Call Me Ishmael? I mean, maybe there is a tie to Moby Dick, because the first line of Moby Dick is Call Me Ishmael. Maybe there's a tie to that, but it's opposite, so maybe not. Well, if I watched a commentary on Moby Dick, then I should watch a sermon titled Don't Call Me Ishmael. Well, it's a sermon, so it's irrelevant, right? It may be relevant in the first 2 or 3 sentences that the pastor talks or says, or at some point when he says, which is why I called this Don't Call Me Ishmael, or carry me, because that's a reference in a scripture or something like that. That's fine. But it has meaning to the people that are sitting in the room. It doesn't necessarily have meaning to people outside the walls. So maybe change the sermon titles or the title for the video, maybe change that to a point that is made, or the overall point that would work better to catch someone's attention on YouTube than just the people that are sitting in the room, because this is number 9 in a 10-part series, right? So your titles and your thumbnails, by the way, your thumbnails are the biggest thing. Think about you. When you're scrolling through YouTube, what is it that makes you stop and pay attention to a video? The thumbnail. You're not reading titles as you're going through, as you're scrolling through on your phone or scrolling through on your desktop or whatever. The pictures, right? Whether the pictures have words or not. Okay, but the pictures, they jump out at you and you think, wow, that caught my attention. And then you read the title and you're like, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to watch it. You can do that with your sermons as well. It's going to take some creativity, but having a thumbnail, and let me say this, throw your church branding out, okay? Because it really doesn't apply when it comes to your audience on YouTube. No one cares about your church's logo. No one cares about your church's color scheme or anything like that. If you do a sermon series, whatever the visual element is that you make that's a part of your slide deck or of your sermon bumper or something like that, a visual from there, one of the biggest mistakes you could make is to take that visual, that thing that's on the poster in the hallway or whatever, and make that the thumbnail for all the different videos in that series. It'll look uniform. It'll look pretty. It'll be completely ineffective because it's just in a sea of average at that point, right? It didn't jump out and grab me. So think creatively. Think about what was the overall concept. My pastor always does a sermon in a sentence. Okay, let's take that sermon in a sentence and boil it down into 2 or 3 words. Or maybe that sermon in a sentence is good enough to be the title of the YouTube video. That's great. When you're doing your thumbnails, bright colors, a lot of contrast, a uniformed color scheme with the subject being a contrasting color. Just some of the things that can help it stand out and catch someone's eye like really, really sharp. You could also take your sermons, we've talked about stripping out the sermon and publishing as a standalone, right? Maybe you do a little more editing in there. Maybe you do some faster cutting in there. Maybe you do some like digital zooming or popping, or put some B-roll, or put certain words on the screen at certain times over your pastor's chest or something like that as they're talking. Something that will help to engage the viewer more than just a talking head on a stage. Okay, so think a little bit creatively about that. You may be able to engage the viewer's satisfaction a lot better than just a 45-minute straight talk. Maybe you cut it down to 30 minutes and pick the pace up a little bit like that. Maybe that will make it more appealing to people beyond the walls of your church. You could also take that video, and if he's got 3 points or three sections, maybe it's broken up into 3 different pieces, and you use some of those editing techniques to engage more, to use more B-roll. Your pastor may sometimes, put up an image of a map or do something like that. So if they're doing that, you now have the opportunity to not just show that because that was what's up on the big screen, and you show it for 3 minutes while he's talking about it. First century, Israel, go get some B-roll or get some pictures from the last Israel trip that was taken from the church, or something like that to put in there to make it more visually stimulating. Let's step aside from just the content that we create every Sunday morning, which is our sermons, and let's go beyond that a little bit. There are some really, really popular, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of views, types of channels out there that are quote-unquote Christian channels. What they are is a Christian who is commenting on life or commenting on society or taking news stories and discussing them from a biblical worldview. Well, your pastor, you have these conversations at lunch. Your pastor may even talk about some of these things from the pulpit. Maybe your pastor does a video dedicated to that topic. YouTube is like the second largest search engine, like in the world. People are asking questions on YouTube. People are asking life questions on YouTube. They're looking for answers. They're looking for answers. Gen Z, the digital generation, they are asking all kinds of questions, and they are being fed all kinds of bad information. It's the church's responsibility. It's your responsibility as a content creator, as a Christian, as a pastor, as a worship leader, as a media professional, whatever role you have in this. It's our job to try to provide the answers. We can't expect for people to show up at church to get the answers. Hopefully they will, and it's great if they do. We should welcome them and start ministering to them. But the reality is, we're just a bunch of hypocrites, or a bunch of wackos. I mean, look at the way the mainstream media portrays us as believers. Now, if a parent goes to a school board meeting and asks a question, literally we have law enforcement agencies that have said those people can be considered domestic terrorists. Really? Okay, well, society's not helping us. So if society's not helping us, then the people that are looking for answers and are getting their answers from society, getting a non-biblical worldview, they're going to be told to dismiss us. Well, if they're asking these questions out there, if we're providing the answers, and if as they're searching, they find an answer and it's coming from one of us, then there's a good chance that the gospel may break through in their heart. The Holy Spirit can use that with them. So why not? What kind of stuff am I talking about? Just go to Google or go to the YouTube search bar and start typing in, what does the Bible say about? And then just see what shows up. Will I go to hell if? Why does God hate? Why does the church hate? Why do Christians hate? You'll see things that people are typing in those search bars. Grab your scripture and come up with a biblical worldview to address those. Make a video. Now, I know we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. I know, Pastor, you're working all week. You're doing all this. You don't have time to do all this sort of stuff. Maybe this is something you do in bulk. Maybe you sit down once a month on a Tuesday afternoon, turn on your phone, and I can show you how to set it up so that it looks good. You turn on your phone and you run through and you answer several of these questions, and you get 5, 6, 7 of these questions answered. Maybe this becomes part of your Wednesday night's Bible study stuff that you do, where for the next 2, 3, or 4 weeks, we're going to be going over some of these most asked questions that are out there and have it taped. And now you have a series of videos that you can put out there. And this is another content type that you can publish that is complementary to the content you're already putting out. And that can help your YouTube channel grow. That can help the viewership grow. That can help more people that are not in your church know about what's going on in the ministries at your church, because they're being fed the information, the videos, they're having their questions answered, and now they're able to discover even more that you're doing, because the algorithm is going to be feeding them the content that they're going to get the most satisfaction out of. And look, yours is starting to become that satisfying content that they're looking for. So if this was helpful, be sure to share it. If it wasn't, be sure to share it anyway. And if you do like this, be sure to check. Let's see, we'll go this way. Be sure to check out this video. I think you're going to like it. Now, take everything that you've learned here and use it to go change lives.